When you hold money in your hand, do not look at it as something small, fleeting, or scarce. See it as a symbol of divine substance, an evidence of the infinite supply that flows from the unseen into the seen. Money is not your master, it is your servant. It is not limited, unless you limit it with your thought. It is not lacking unless you speak lack into it. When you hold your money, bless it. Speak to it as a living energy, for indeed, everything is alive with vibration. Say to it, you are God's substance in visible form. You are limitless, you are abundant, and you return to me multiplied in perfect ways. Never say, this is not enough. Never say, I do not have, for the words you speak become law in your world. Instead, hold your money and declare you are a seed, and you grow into harvest. You circulate freely and return to me pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Do not despise the little, for the little carries the pattern of the great. Even one coin in your hand can open the gates of supply if you speak truth over it. Say you are only the beginning, for divine supply has no end. You are a channel, and through you riches flow in ever-increasing measure. Gratitude multiplies what you hold. Praise expands it. Doubt diminishes it. Fear blocks it. Release fear and speak faith. Say, I rejoice in you, for you are evidence that the floodgates are open. You return with friends, and your increase knows no end. Hold your money and do not see separation between the spiritual and the material. The same power that breathes life into your body breathes circulation into your finances. Money is not outside of God's law, it is included. Therefore, it cannot be withheld from you, except by your own belief. Say, I release every thought of poverty, every word of lack, every image of limitation. I now see my money as endless supply, forever replenished by divine law. You multiply for me in expected and unexpected ways, for all channels are open, and nothing can stop the flow. And as you speak these words, feel the vibration of truth. See doors opening, opportunities arising, gifts appearing, debts dissolving, and wealth flowing. Hold your money as a sacred reminder supply is infinite, and you are in perfect alignment with it. Money is divine substance in visible form, a servant of infinite supply, not a symbol of lack. When you hold money in your hand, you must shift the way you see it. Too often people look at money and think of what it cannot buy, what it cannot cover, how little of it there seems to be, and in doing so they shut the very door through which increase longs to come. Divine substance is unlimited. It has no beginning and no end, and money is but one of its countless expressions. To see money as scarce is to deny the very truth of universal abundance, for the same spirit that formed the sun, the stars, and the endless oceans is the spirit that manifests supply in your life. The visible coin, the paper bill, the figure on a statement, is only a shell, a form that represents the boundless flow behind it. When you realize that, you no longer fear the smallness of what you see. You recognize that it is connected to something vast, something inexhaustible, something that cannot run out, for it is born of infinite mind and infinite law. Money is not to be worshipped, but neither is it to be despised. It is a servant, not a master. When you treat it as a servant, you remove its false power to dominate your thoughts with fear or greed. You give it its rightful place, as a symbol of divine substance, circulating freely, coming to you and moving through you in perfect balance. To call money evil is to misunderstand its purpose. Money is neutral, it takes on the quality you assign to it. When you bless it, it becomes a channel of blessing. When you fear it, it becomes a tool of fear. When you love it rightly, as a useful, obedient servant, it grows in its circulation, for it obeys the vibration of the one who holds it. Every piece of money you touch is alive with the imprint of divine intelligence. It carries within it a pattern of circulation, and it desires to multiply under the law of increase. The law of life is growth, expansion, and multiplication. Nothing in divine order shrinks or withers. Everything is designed to expand. So too with money, for it is substance in motion. The more you see it as a living extension of divine supply, the more you attract it into your orbit. A coin held in joy attracts more coins. A bill blessed with gratitude invites its companions. There is nothing trivial about blessing what you hold, for what you bless expands, and what you curse diminishes. When you see money as divine substance, you remove the weight of struggle. You stop saying, I must work endlessly to create this. And you begin to affirm, this flows to me naturally. For it is the very nature of the universe to provide. The air you breathe is not earned, it is freely given. The sunlight that warms you is not fought for. It is poured out without limit. The same is true of financial supply, except that human thought has built barriers of fear, doubt and disbelief. To break those barriers, you must reframe your vision. Hold money and see it not as paper or metal, but as the visible edge of an invisible ocean of abundance. You are never cut off from the ocean. You are only cut off by your own thought that you stand in a desert. Scarcity is a lie of appearances. You may look at what is in your hand and believe it is small, but appearances deceive. What you hold is a seed, and within it is the blueprint of harvest. No farmer despises the seed because it is not yet a field of wheat. He honors it, plants it, tends it, and knows it will multiply according to divine law. Money is the same. When you see even the smallest coin as a seed of the infinite, you release its power to draw increase. You do not mock it, you do not scorn it, you do not complain over it, you recognize it as the seed of something greater. There is a law that what you focus on expands. If you focus on lack, lack grows. If you focus on substance, substance grows. If you hold money and focus on how little it is, you will multiply that littleness. If you hold money and focus on its infinite nature, you will multiply its abundance. The law works with precision, it never fails. Money responds to consciousness, not to struggle. When your consciousness is one of divine supply, money comes to serve you, to obey the command you speak over it, to circulate in harmony with your vision. Your thought and word impress upon substance the shape it must take. If you declare money scarce, you imprint scarcity upon substance, and it reflects that scarcity back into your life. If you declare money abundant, you imprint abundance upon substance, and it reflects increase into your life. The words you speak over money matter. When you say, "This is divine substance, this is the servant of infinite supply," you are not speaking empty phrases. You are aligning with universal truth. The unseen responds to your word, for the word carries vibration, and vibration shapes form. Fear of money creates chains. It makes people hoard, clutch, worry, and shut off circulation. But divine substance cannot be chained, it cannot be hoarded, it cannot be trapped in fear. It longs to move, to expand, to bless. When you hold money in your hand, release the fear. Know that it is safe to let it move, for it will return multiplied. Know that it is safe to spend in joy, for what leaves in joy returns in joy. Know that it is safe to receive in abundance, for to receive is to honor the flow of divine substance. Money is not outside of spiritual law, it is part of it. It is as much divine expression as health, harmony, or peace. To treat it as unspiritual is to deny its source. Spirit expresses through all channels, and money is one of them. The same power that guides the stars in their courses guides the circulation of your finances. Nothing is separate, nothing is excluded. When you know this, you stop dividing your life into spiritual and material, holy and common, sacred and profane. You see all as divine substance, and therefore all is good. In this light, money is never an idol nor is it an enemy. It is simply divine energy clothed in a form you can use. It is here to serve you, to make your ways smoother, to open channels of good, to support the fulfillment of your purpose. When you see it as such, you strip it of false power and restore it to true power. It becomes a symbol of your alignment with infinite supply. It becomes proof that you live in a universe of abundance. To hold money and call it divine substance is to awaken faith. Faith does not wait for evidence to appear. Faith knows the unseen before the seen. By declaring money as divine substance, you place yourself in the flow of the unseen, and the seen rearranges itself to match your declaration. Faith is the key that unlocks the invisible storehouse. Gratitude is the oil that keeps the door swinging open. Praise is the magnet that draws more substance into visibility. Fear is the lock that shuts it out. Choose the key, the oil, the magnet. Choose to see what you hold not as lack, but as the ever-present servant of infinite supply. The words you speak over money shape its flow. Blessing multiplies, fear blocks, gratitude expands. The tongue is a creative force, and what you say about your money imprints itself upon the very substance of supply. Many treat money as lifeless, as though it were only paper, metal, or numbers on a screen, but money is energy clothed in form, and energy responds to vibration. Your words carry vibration. Every declaration you make over your finances sets into motion unseen currents that either open channels or close them. When you say, "I never have enough," those words are not idle, they are law to your subconscious, and your subconscious will faithfully reproduce that pattern in your life. When you say, "Money comes to me easily and in abundance," those words too become law, and the universe finds channels through which to fulfill them. Blessing multiplies. To bless your money is to speak well of it, to see it as good, to declare that it is increasing, circulating, and fulfilling its divine purpose. A bill in your hand, when blessed, becomes like a seed watered with light. Instead of cursing it for being too little, bless it as evidence of the infinite flow. Words of blessing call forth its companions, for money responds to joy and praise as naturally as plants respond to sunlight. A person who blesses every dollar, every coin, every amount that comes into their hands will always see more come, for they are sending a vibration of expansion into the substance of supply. Blessing is not flattery or wishful thinking, it is the alignment of your word with divine law, for divine law is ever increasing good. Fear blocks. When you speak words of fear over money, when you say, "This is not enough, I will lose this, I can't afford that," you are shutting the door to supply. Fear contracts, and money does not flow in contraction. Fear places a wall between you and the channels through which substance longs to reach you. Fear is a false god that demands worship through worry and complaint, and many bow before it without realizing. Every anxious word about bills, about lack, about how hard money is to come by, is a prayer to fear, and fear is faithful to answer, for it produces in your life exactly what you confess. To break this pattern, you must watch your words and refuse to speak fear into form. Replace every fearful statement with a declaration of faith, every negative utterance with an affirmation of supply. Gratitude expands. To speak words of thanks over your money is to open it up to the law of increase. Gratitude is multiplication in motion. When you thank money for being present, you acknowledge its divine origin. You are not thanking a piece of paper. You are thanking the infinite substance it represents. Gratitude carries the vibration of receiving more, because it declares, "I recognize this as good, and I welcome more of it." A grateful person can turn little into much, for their words of thanksgiving water the seed of supply and draw increase from the unseen. Every time you receive money, whether small or large, speak words of gratitude over it, and you will find it multiplying in ways you cannot predict. Your words carry the authority of law in your personal world. What you decree over your money becomes the pattern your subconscious follows and the vibration the universe matches. To speak casually, carelessly, or negatively about your finances is to plant weeds in the garden of your supply. You cannot speak of poverty and expect riches. You cannot curse money and expect it to bless you. You cannot complain about lack and expect abundance. The universe reflects back to you the words you have sown. If you have spoken lack, begin now to uproot it by speaking abundance. If you have spoken fear, dissolve it with faith-filled words. If you have spoken doubt, replace it with declarations of trust in divine supply. The spoken word is a magnet. It draws into form the very thing it describes. Speak of money as scarce, and scarcity clings to you. Speak of money as abundant, and abundance seeks you out. Money does not resist, it obeys. It has no will of its own. It is a servant responding to command. The command it hears is the words you speak. This is why you must be intentional, deliberate, and conscious with your declarations. Every time you touch money, bless it. Every time you think of money, affirm it. Every time you release money, thank it. In this way, you create a stream of positive vibration that keeps your finances in circulation and expansion. Blessing multiplies because blessing aligns with divine truth. Divine truth is that supply is infinite, abundance is natural, and prosperity is the law of life. When you bless, you are speaking in agreement with this law, and therefore the law works to increase your good. Fear blocks because fear speaks against the law, declaring separation, limitation, and lack, which have no true foundation in divine substance. Gratitude expands because gratitude recognizes and honors the source, and what you honor expands in your life. These are not philosophies, they are laws, and they operate whether you are conscious of them or not. Your task is to become conscious, to speak with awareness, to choose blessing over cursing, faith over fear, and gratitude over complaint. When you open your wallet, do not sigh or grumble. Speak blessing over what you see. When you pay a bill, do not say, "This takes all my money." Say instead, "I give thanks that I have more than enough to pay this, and more returns to me multiplied." When you face an expense, do not declare, "I cannot afford this." Declare instead, "Divine substance meets every need in perfect ways, and money comes to me easily and in abundance." These words are not empty. They are keys that unlock channels you cannot see. They are signals sent into the unseen, and the unseen responds with visible results. The most powerful words are often the simplest. I am abundant. Money flows to me freely. I bless this money and see it multiply. I am grateful for my ever-increasing supply. These declarations, when spoken with conviction, plant seeds in the soil of consciousness. And the soil does not argue. It does not debate. It does not reject. It grows whatever seed you plant. If you have planted thorns of lack, pull them up with new words. If you have planted weeds of fear, clear them with affirmations of faith. Speak life over your finances, and your finances will live. Speak growth, and they will grow. Speak circulation, and they will flow. Money hears you. It responds to your voice, your tone, your intention. When you speak to it as a friend, it returns as a friend. When you speak to it as an enemy, it flees as an enemy. When you ignore it, it becomes indifferent. But when you bless it, praise it, and thank it, it multiplies itself in your experience. There is no mystery in this, only law. The law is exact, and your word is the lever that moves it. By understanding this, you take control of your financial destiny. You stop being a victim of appearances and start being a master of vibration. Even the smallest amount carries the seed of increase. Treat it as a channel of ever-growing wealth. A single coin, often dismissed as insignificant, is in truth a carrier of infinite substance, clothed in a humble form. What is small in appearance is vast in potential. Just as a tiny acorn holds within it the pattern of a mighty oak, so does the smallest piece of money carry within it the vibration of endless multiplication. When you hold even the least amount with reverence, gratitude, and expectation, you set into motion the law of increase, for divine law does not measure by size, it measures by recognition. Recognition of supply, however small, opens the gate for greater supply to flow, while dismissal or contempt for the small closes the gate and keeps increase away. The mind trained to despise little will always remain in little, for it denies the seed before the harvest. To look at a small amount and say, "This is nothing," is to cancel its hidden pattern of expansion. To look at it and say, "You are the beginning of great increase," is to water that seed with faith, and faith calls forth the harvest. Money, like all substance, responds to the thought and the word of the one who holds it. If you scorn it, it withdraws. If you bless it, it multiplies. The divine law of multiplication begins with recognition of what is already in hand, no matter how small it appears. You do not mock a seed because it is not yet a field of grain. You do not despise the first flicker of dawn because it is not yet full daylight. You honor the beginning, for the beginning carries the entire unfolding within it. Money obeys this same principle. A single note, a single coin, a single act of circulation, all carry the pattern of expansion when received in gratitude and spoken over with truth. The law of increase cannot work for those who curse the seed, but it works with great joy for those who honor it. Every small coin, when blessed, becomes a magnet drawing more, for it resonates with the vibration of abundance. When you treat every amount, great or small, as a channel of ever-growing wealth, you enter into alignment with the law of circulation. Circulation is the nature of supply. Money is not meant to sit stagnant, to be hoarded in fear, or despised as too little. It is meant to flow, to move, to circulate, to return multiplied. If you only honor the large amounts and ignore the small, you break the rhythm of circulation. You show the universe that you are blind to the truth of substance, and blindness closes channels. But when you honor every amount, when you see divine richness even in the smallest form, you declare to the universe, "I am aware of the law of increase, I am ready for more." and the universe responds by sending more. It is not the size of what you hold that matters. It is the consciousness with which you hold it. One person may hold $1,000 and declare it insufficient, and so the 1,000 contracts and flees. Another may hold a single coin and declare it abundant, and that coin attracts companions until the one becomes many. Consciousness determines outcome. The outer amount is only the reflection of the inner belief. If you believe in increase, even the smallest seed will prove it true. If you believe in lack, even the greatest sum will dwindle away. The key is to see every form of money as a channel, not as the whole. A channel is a path through which the infinite flows. The infinite cannot be measured, it cannot be contained, it cannot be limited. The channel may appear small, but the source behind it is vast. A little brook may seem narrow, but it is fed by hidden springs that never run dry. The brook is not the source, it is the opening. Likewise, the money you hold is not the source. It is the opening through which infinite supply enters your life. To despise the brook is to despise the spring. To honor the brook is to honor the spring. When you honor the channel, more channels open, and the flow becomes ever greater. Practice blessing the smallest amounts with the same joy you would bless the largest. When a coin comes to you, speak to it as if it were the beginning of your fortune. When you find a small bill in your wallet, declare it the forerunner of greater increase. Say to it, "You are divine substance in visible form. You are the seed of wealth, and you return multiplied in perfect ways." By doing this, you are aligning your thought with truth, and truth always expands. Every declaration made over money imprints upon it your belief, and belief becomes form. Nothing is wasted in divine law. No amount is too small to carry the vibration of increase. Those who look down upon small beginnings shut out great endings. Those who bless small beginnings open the way for endless unfolding. The person who cannot be grateful for a coin will never be satisfied with a treasure, for dissatisfaction is a state of consciousness, not a state of possession. Gratitude for the little attracts the much, because gratitude expands whatever it touches. When you spend even the smallest coin, do it with joy. Release it with blessing, and it will return to you in greater measure. When you give, whether great or small, declare that the giving opens the law of circulation. The size of the gift is not what matters. It is the consciousness of giving that sets the law in motion. Even a small act of circulation, when done with faith and joy, sets in motion currents of abundance that bring back multiplied increase. Every fortune begins with a seed. Every harvest begins with a planting. Every river begins with a spring. So too with wealth in your life. It begins with a small seed of recognition, a small act of gratitude, a small declaration of faith. These small things, repeated and honored, become channels through which the flood of abundance flows. The flood does not rush into a closed vessel, it rushes into an open channel. Treat your smallest money as the opening of that channel, and watch as it widens into streams, then rivers, then oceans of supply. To live in alignment with the law of increase, you must train your mind to see every form of money as sacred substance. Do not divide your vision into large and small, worthy and unworthy, significant and insignificant. See all as divine. See all as valuable. See all as part of the same infinite flow. By doing so, you remove the barriers of judgment and open the gates of supply. Divine substance does not measure in human terms. It does not withhold because something appears small. It pours out increase wherever it is recognized. Recognition is the magnet that draws more. Therefore, take what you have in your hand right now, however little it may appear, and see it with new eyes. It is not small. It is not insignificant. It is not lacking. It is divine substance in seed form. It is the forerunner of more. It is a channel through which infinite wealth flows. Speak to it as such, bless it as such, honor it as such, and it will answer you in kind. Money is obedient to consciousness, and consciousness that blesses the little is entrusted with much. Align money with spiritual law by affirming abundance, and it will return multiplied in perfect ways. Money is not outside of spiritual law, it is within it, governed by the same principles that govern life, health, harmony, and peace. The law is one, and it is always working. The same power that created the stars and sustains the universe also governs the flow of money. When you recognize this truth, You stop treating money as something separate, as though it were excluded from divine order. Money is substance, and substance is God in action. To align money with spiritual law is to bring it back into its rightful place, to see it not as something to chase or fear, but as something that moves in harmony with eternal truth. Affirming abundance is the key. The universe does not respond to complaint, worry, or fear, it responds to affirmation, praise, and faith. When you affirm abundance, you are speaking in agreement with divine law. You are declaring that the supply of the universe is infinite, that you are one with it, and that money is one of its many expressions. Words of abundance plant seeds in the subconscious mind, and the subconscious faithfully reproduces what is planted. If you say, "Money flows to me easily and freely," you impress that truth upon the inner mind, and the inner mind shapes outer conditions to match. If you say, "I never have enough," that too is impressed, and the law works just as faithfully to bring lack. The law does not choose for you, it mirrors what you affirm. When you align with abundance, you lift money out of fear and into faith. Many people live in constant fear of not having enough, and fear is a magnet for the very thing it dreads. Fear contracts while abundance expands. Fear blocks circulation while faith opens channels. Fear tightens the flow, while praise multiplies it. To affirm abundance is to cast out fear, to declare boldly that divine supply cannot fail, and that you are connected to it. The more you affirm this truth, the more your outer world begins to reflect it. Money returns multiplied in perfect ways, because multiplication is the law of life. The seed multiplies into harvest, the idea multiplies into expression, the act multiplies into result. Money, when aligned with spiritual law, multiplies as well. This multiplication does not always come through the channels you expect. It comes through the channels that are right. Perfect ways means ways that are aligned with divine order, ways that bless you and others, ways that leave no burden, no struggle, no harm. When you release money in faith, it circulates and returns with increase, for that is its nature under spiritual law. When you hold money in fear, you break the law of circulation and block its return. The choice is always yours. Affirm abundance not once but continually. Let your words about money always reflect divine truth. Instead of saying, "I can't afford this," say, "The money I need comes to me in perfect ways." Instead of saying, "I never have enough," say, "I always have